Hello, Keith Walker speaking. This is the video clip B, sort of for the week 10 course. This is not examinable. This is just sort of an observation for students, those that have an interest in sort of having a little bit of a deeper think about the financial environment that we're in. In Australia, we are going to complete 26 years of continuous economic growth at the end of this financial quarter, that is June this year. That will be a world record. The previous world record, and I talk of it as a world record, but we all understand the sporting parlay in Australia, was held by the Netherlands, and it had 25 years up until 25 years, which ended in the global financial crisis, which hit in 2007, which you've read a little bit about. The reason I'm sort of making this extra comment is because if you've been paying attention to the media of recent, and business columns, business things on TV, etc., apart from the few clippings that I've put up earlier, you'll realise there's a very big discussion at the moment about where the Australian housing market is going. We've even had comments from the Governor of the Reserve Bank making comments and things like that about the level of debt of Australian households. Now, where does that affect you? That affects you in construction. It comes straight back to construction, financial contractions, financial problems. The financial environment that we live in it goes well for the health of construction. People are buying houses, people are buying apartments, and people are doing developments and things like that. It's got to the stage now in Australia, rightly or wrongly, where, for example, a major infrastructure development in Sydney, the second airport for Sydney, Badgerys Creek, which a lot of you should know about or read about at least, is now going to be financed by the federal government. Not unusual in that context. Federal governments and governments have financed things before in Australia, so that's not the first time we do this. What's a little bit unusual is that no private enterprise organisation has stepped up to take over at this stage. That means that they're concerned about the risk and the reward. Because private enterprise, as you're now finding running your arousal company, you've got to make money. You've got to outlay your capital, expenditure on your staff, do your development, and at the end of the day, when the project's complete, you need to make a profit or a return of some sort. So for this stage, this particular point in time, the airport, and I speak to that because it's a major significant infrastructure thing, is not happening except with government supervision. That's partly come about because of a few things that we've done in the past. Those of you who know the airport to Brisbane Airport tunnel know that didn't go so crash hot. The Lane Cove tunnel in Sydney hasn't perhaps necessarily proved to be what they expected. This sort of thing. So I'm talking to these because if you're 40-ish, my oldest son is 40, so if you're 40, 41, 42, you weren't particularly paying a lot of attention to the last recession because you would have been a 14 or 15 or 16-year-old. It was your parents' problem, not yours. What problems did we have? We had business loans that went to 22.5%, housing loans that went to 18.5%. Just imagine now if your housing loan went to 18.5%, what sort of impact that would have on you. Now, what I'm saying here is that there's no reason why Australia can't keep having another X number of years of economic growth, but it is X. I don't know exactly what it is. And the reason I'm articulating this is for the fact that as students in the construction industry, it'll come down to you to look after yourself in the long run. You have to make decisions about the company you're working with. You might have to do it at senior levels. If you're a senior person inside the company, you're making decisions that affect the other 100, 200, 300 people that might work in your company. So I just sort of articulating that, to keep an eye on it. Again, it's not a testable topic. There's no assessment or assignment on this. It's just something that I'm putting out there for students for an observation. I also hope it is an important part of the process that we're trying to do, which is A, get you to pass exams, and B, to think for yourself. So in other words, you take responsibility for yourself as you move forward in your career. If you're just a young student and you're entering the workforce for the first time, it doesn't matter. You're just excited to have a first job. If you're a little bit older, have a mortgage, etc., then these things become a lot more crucial to you. So again, just bear that in mind. We are entering a world record period of 26 years. My fervent hope is that we do another 26 years. The reality is it could be something different. I haven't spoken about the impacts of China, the developments in America with the Federal Reserve putting up interest rates. There's a whole lot of economic things that come into the consideration. Again, we haven't touched on them in any detail in this course because we just simply don't have the time. But as managers, and that's what you're going to be, future managers of senior construction companies, you will need to have some idea of what's going on around you and have an opinion, because it's only your opinion that might help your company survive as against fail because of circumstances totally beyond your control. So, not wanting to be gloomy, but just wanting students to be aware. And that sort of thing, again, because you're in construction, it's an area that does feel it. As soon as it happens, expenditure tightens up, as soon as interest rates changes, housing construction slows down and that sort of thing. A whole lot of things come along with housing construction. There's the retail industry, fridges, carpets, painters, a whole stack of stuff comes from it, from the company. If you've paid any attention to the Australian economic circumstances the last couple of years, you'll realise that we've come off a big mining boom. And you'll realise one of the things that's helped Australia transition from a mining boom economy to still a prosperous economy has been the construction industry. It needs to keep going for Australia to keep that track record going of growth in the future. One of the good things that came out of this construction boom, one of the good things that came out of the last mining boom is that we didn't come out with rampant inflation. Again, if you're under the age of 40, you don't even know what inflation is. It's never been a problem to you. But trust me, if you're a bit older, the vintage of Willie and myself, it wasn't pleasant when everybody starts whacking up their interest rates, that sort of thing. So again, this is not a contestable part of the course. There's no essay or assignment. It's just me having a little chat to students. And I hope you find it interesting, and I hope you think about it, because that's what you have to do. It's your future, your companies, etc., your lives. And you need to take responsibility for them as you go forward. So just a little something extra. I hope it's interesting, and I hope that things do keep continuing on the way they are. But I also hope that my students, or our students, have thought these things through so that if situations do change, they've created an adaptable environment or company or structure for themselves to be able to handle any sort of little hiccups that come along. So thank you for listening to me for the last 7 minutes or so. And good luck with the rest of your assignment. Thank you.